I welcome everyone to Wizards Outlook. Got Raymond Lyons here. Wilson's RP Jr. in Miami races past Washington 152, 136. Despite Will Riley having another career high, that might have been the only bright spot for the Wizards in a rough one. The kid had 31 on 12 or 17, right, to go along with 5 steals. Outside of that, you know the rule around these parts. That magic number is 40, and Washington gave up 40 not once, but twice in a quarter in this game. That second and third quarter stretch was really rough. For Washington, they gave up 86 points to Miami in that stretch. We saw the Wizards in the fourth quarter, they were able to have a 45-point quarter, but the damage was done in the second and third already. Um, from Miami, last time, they played, Bam had that magical night. This one was just all Miami Heat as a group. Um, Everyone showed out for Miami. Jaime Jaquez with 32, 3 rebounds and 4 assists. He was 12 and 18. Kyle Ware had a hell of a game, 24 points, 19 boards, and 8 blocks off the bench. So those two fellas off the bench combined for 50 plus. But Ray, your thoughts on this one is Washington. I think this makes it their fifth consecutive loss and helps the Heat snap their losing streak.
Yeah, just the Heat were just dominant, plain and simple. They were dominant physically. 74 points in the paint. Shot 58% from the field as a team. They had 42 assists on 54 made shots. Just no resistance defensively from the Wizards, per usual. So I mean, it's no need to harp on that. But the Heat players they took advantage of facing a team that doesn't play defense. You pointed out Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Khalil Ware. They got in the game and took advantage of their minutes. They played 32 and 36 minutes respectively, and they took full advantage of every single one. 32 points for Jaime and 24 for Khalil Ware, 12 or 18 from the field, and 10 for 15 from the field respectively. So they came in and went to work. If the person in front of you isn't going to try to stop you, then by all means. So yeah, man, it was the Heat just came out and like you said, in those second and third quarters, they just really put their foot down on the gas pedal and didn't let up. And yeah, by the time the fourth quarter came around, the dogs were called off, and it was just a foregone conclusion at that point. The teams were only on the floor because there was still time left on the clock. So yeah, they lost by 16, but it was really much worse than that.
Yeah, and the weird thing with this one, during pregame, I was talking about some of the stark differences in that game where Miami, dominated Washington on the offensive glass. That wasn't the case in this one. Washington out rebounded Orlando on offensive glass, 17 to 10. But much of that was Orlando wasn't missing that much. Again, they shot 58%. For much of the first half, I believe they were at 60% at or near the end of the first half from the floor, which is absurd. You talked about the points in the paint. During pregame this year, they do a great job of getting to the line. Most of the times when teams are up there in terms of getting to the line, that means they're getting 2 feet in the paint, and they lived in there. This game, regardless of who it was, and I thought one of the biggest differences was just where I know he had 8 blocks, but those are just the shots he actually got his hand on. He altered so many different shots, made things tough because Washington ended up shooting 47% from the floor and 43 from deep, but they weren't getting what Miami was getting in the paint. It just wasn't quite the same. Washington did score 58 points in the paint, but as you said, how much of that came late in this one? You got to think about that with some of those numbers a little bit skewed, but yeah, it was just a rough one, and all the things I mentioned in pregame that Miami did well in terms of keys of the game. They checked the box on every one of those things in this one, and that leads to 152. I think this is the second. This is back-to-back games they passed 150 playing the Wizards. And the game when Bam had 83, they hit the 150 threshold in that one. No one gets remotely close to 83 in this one, and they're at 150 again. So yeah, it's a really tough one, and Miami needed this win. They're trying to get themselves together. They're clinging to that last playing spot in the East. But I always have to ask, who'd you have for player of the game in this one?
Um, that Khalil Ware, that's just a monster game. Sniffing a triple double with blocks. that that tells you everything you need to know about his activity and his impact on the game tonight.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I think for both of these categories, it's those two kids, not kids, but the two youngsters that came off the bench. Yeah, what is there anything to combat 24, 19, and 8 with? Like Jaime Hawkins Jr. had a hell of a night. Okay, Kyle Ware was just like, no, look at my night. And yeah, I'm right with you on player of the game. They took that over, and like you said, they both played 30 minutes a night. Miami starters got, no hero. I think he got scratched. It was a game time decision, but I mean, their bench was outstanding. Xfactor for you.
Uh, his running mate off the bench, Jaime Jaquez Jr., came in on a heater, 32 points, 12, 18 from the field, 7 to 7 from the line. Just took full advantage of his opportunity.
And yeah, and to that point, uh, Kelly Ware was averaging 10. I mean, he pretty much averages 11 points a game. And this is what he did tonight. He brought up Hopkins Jr. 15 points a game, man. Like the production was absurd tonight. And credit to Miami for the win for Washington. This is a front end, technically of a back to back. They play tomorrow, I believe at 3:30, and it is against the Brooklyn Nets. So we will check in with you guys tomorrow for pregame and outlook. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Saturday.